From the KELOLAND Digital Desk, I'm meteorologist Scott and Brian, and here's our latest edition of Whether or Not. It is Tuesday, October 28th. Coming up on today's show, we are talking about, the snowfall prediction. That came out yesterday. We'll talk more about that and show you how you can follow along on KELOLAND.com as we do go through our snow season. Halloween's on Friday. We'll take a look at 3 different models on what they are thinking of our chance for showers in eastern and northeastern South Dakota. Then something may happen Friday night into Saturday morning. We'll just call it light precipitation can be in the forecast Friday night into Saturday morning. November is just around the corner. We'll show you what we're thinking for a November outlook, and we'll finish, of course, with our snow trend, what the latest numbers are. But let's talk about not snow, but rain. We've had rain this morning, eastern KELOLAND, and for the afternoon, it is more persistent across Minnesota and northwestern Iowa. Not to say that we won't have our rain for areas near Interstate 29, but western South Dakota will have sunshine that will continue through the rest of the afternoon, and some of that sunshine is spilling over into central and north central South Dakota. Slow decrease in cloud cover tonight in eastern KELOLAND. Clear skies, light winds tonight in western South Dakota. A hard freeze is in the forecast as temperatures fall to the low to middle 20s in western South Dakota. Eastern KELOLAND will have temperatures probably middle, upper 30s. Dry skies for tomorrow. Dry skies again on Thursday. Then we'll have to watch to see what happens with our shower chances on Friday. So here's the latest for our rainfall forecast. That's the best chance we have at seeing at least a half-inch of rainfall. Those areas highlighted in green, and a lot of that, if not all that, shows up in west central, southwestern Minnesota into western and northwestern Iowa. So that is the best chance of seeing rainfall amounts of at least a half inch. Forecast for today showing temperatures in the 40s and 50s. Let's not forget about the wind, because it will be strong. Central and western South Dakota could see wind gusts 35, 40 miles per hour or more. Our forecast for tonight, the winds will not be as strong across western South Dakota, so lighter winds in the west, mostly clear skies. That will allow temperatures to fall to the low to middle 20s in western KELOLAND. We'll go with a slowly clearing sky in eastern and southeastern KELOLAND late tonight, with temperatures falling to the middle to upper 30s in the east and southeast. Coming up after the break, we'll talk about that snowfall prediction and how you can follow along on KELOLAND.com. And, of course, we'll be joined by meteorologist Brian Karstens. Stay with us. You're watching Whether or Not. Well, Brian, it's out. The prediction.
You let the cat out of the bag.
Let the cat out of the bag. KELOLAND Live Doppler Winter Special was on last night at 6:30. Prediction came out. You did a great piece on the beauty of winter.
The beauty of winter. Yeah, see, I'm trying to get my attitude right from the beginning that we got to look at the bright side of things.
Yes.
I love snow, but I just don't know if I'm always the biggest fan of the bigger numbers of snow, which then that's your department to get into the forecast. But yeah, I dug out some video of when I had the microscope out and my cell phone.
I saw that.
And that was kind of fun, and it was interesting to look back through that and think, yeah, doesn't take much at all to do that. So
looking at snowflakes underneath the microscope, and you don't need an expensive microscope, do you?
No, not at all. And very simple to do. It works well on black, like a fleece material. I think I had a little fleece blanket or something like that I just put out. And it had to be cold. It was like, I think that day, probably around 0, maybe a couple degrees either side, but it was a calm day. So those little platelets of ice just came out, and they were pretty fascinating. And, of course, I talked about sundogs and all that other stuff, too.
Sundogs, pillars.
Yes.
Which Melanie's like, I've never seen a pillar.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I'm like, really?
Oh, well, If you live in the country, you probably see more of those because in the winter when the sun is setting, of course, I've got a pretty big view to my west, so I've got open sky. I can see those, and man, they are so precious and pretty. But yeah, you get that glow rising up. It's just a pillar right from the sun, and had an example of that on the video last night. But yeah, another thing to watch for if you've never seen one.
And halos, sun halo.
Correct. Yep, the halos that we get. And then, of course, we talked about the tricks and the cool scenery when you take a piping hot mug of water or a pot of water and then you toss it into the air and watch the steam.
On these very, very cold days that we get.
Yeah, and they only work, really, that only works well. I said in the piece about 20 below zero, and that's about right. It's got to get down to about that level
and
before it works.
Be careful if that's something you want to do.
Yep. And that's why I also said adult supervision. I don't let my kids just
throw the
water out.
No.
But if you do it right and you've got a plan and adult supervision, it's something you won't forget. When you do those kind of tricks in the winter and when people send us the videos, we appreciate that.
Yeah, that was a cool video that you had, too, in slow motion.
Yeah.
That was pretty neat.
Absolutely.
Well, let's go ahead and show everybody, in case you missed it, predicting below average snowfall for everybody. When you look at the climate averages, we're about a foot below our climate average with me predicting around 31.5 inches for Sioux Falls.
Yeah. But that's more than last year, right?
Oh, yes, that is. In fact, you want to talk about last year? I think I have it up. I double-checked on this, too. Let me go ahead and bring this page up. Because last year, 24-25, and I have this in order of least amount of snow per season going down. I thought it was number 8 earlier. It's number 10.
Okay. Well,
on the list. So it was in the top 10 for least amount of snow for a season, coming in at 16.1. Boy, we can get that in a day.
Well, we can. We don't like to.
I don't think we want to, or many people.
I always think interesting, though, on that list. Did you see?
Yeah, I'll bring it back up.
Yeah, go back to that list for a second. Okay, you got 1967, 68. And, okay, there's a winter in the 50s in there, 57, 58, right? And then a 65, 66. You know, when I came here to South Dakota, I would always hear, well, we never get winters like we had back in the 50s and 60s. Well,
yeah, we just had one last year.
And look how little it was. See?
I've always...
It's so funny what people remember and what they don't. But the numbers show it. There were some easy winters. Now, 67, 68, which was right at number 3, I think, on your list.
Yes, it was.
Then what happened the next winter after that?
Well, let's go ahead and hit the button and go the other way.
Yeah, 68, 69.
Yeah, that's on
almost 95 inches of snow.
By far number 1.
I wonder how many people in Sioux Falls know about that. Given the population change over the last 20 years, how many people have moved here that have no clue that we could get a snow like if we had a winter like that, Scott, do you know how big of an impact? Well, I'm just thinking my own family. We wouldn't be able to get to places like we do every day.
You won't be able to show up to work. You'd have to sleep.
Have to get a hotel and permanent for a month or so. You talk to people that lived around here in 68, 16, or 69 and that winter. I mean, they all have stories. I've heard them, many of them over the years, and how the storms came in. And back then, they didn't have a forecast either that they could keep up on what was coming up next. They were always reacting to everything. I remember a conversation with a gentleman here in town that worked in the, I think he was not with, he worked in the governor's office, I'll say that much. And he just said that they were always reacting to the next storm that winter in South Dakota. So at least today, if we get a big one, we know usually something's coming.
Well, wasn't that long ago on this show you said somebody got tired of shoveling flurries?
That was that 1962-63.
Okay,
I think that's where
does that show up in this one?
Yeah, that was in your list. I think it was.
Number 2.
Number 2.
Yeah, it's at February.
79. Yeah.
February of 62, 48 inches.
Here's another story, 82-83. Do you see that in there?
Yes, I do.
That's an El Nino winter.
And look at the late snows, too.
Oh, yeah. That one was a big one. I've got a picture of my house. This is a funny story. When it was being built in 1982, and the snow drifts and the piles around Canton.
Oh my,
pretty big. Yeah, that was a winter where you had to have the snowmobile to get out. So I don't own a snowmobile, Scott. You'll have to fill in for me if that happens.
Yeah,
but you're not forecasting.
I'm not
79.
forecasting. No, I'm not forecasting that.
31. I can.
We are looking. Yeah, we are looking at, like I mentioned, these numbers are below their climate average. Aberdeen's a little bit closer. I think their climate average is 42, 43, somewhere around there. So I'm going near 40 for Aberdeen.
Yeah.
Here, I think Central, and I mentioned this during the show too. Central, North Central South Dakota, I think that there will be a difference. Mobridge probably end up with a little bit more than what Pierre can get. Right now I have Pierre at 28.9. Well, not now, but I'm not changing it. These are the numbers, and I just stick with these throughout the year. Rapid City, closer to their average going, well, actually, I think their average is somewhere in the 50s, so they're below average too, but they'll have the highest total on the list at 42.2.
Okay. So are you thinking, and I'll just pick your brain a little bit here, but the pattern of a northwest flow, is that going to be more dominant in your opinion, or do you think it's going to be kind of switching back and forth from that?
I think it will be a couple of things. We could switch back and forth, but I think we'll be warm enough that we'll probably support, more rain chances than maybe snow chances as we do go forward. And we've had thunderstorms on Christmas Day in Sioux Falls, so we know that can happen.
Yep, 2016. I think there was a thunderstorm, if I remember right. That's the year I'm thinking of. But it can be more rain than snow. You're right.
Watching these cutoff lows that we've been talking about during this show, and you mentioned maybe more of a northwest pattern, but we have to, and we'll have a November outlook coming up that will explain this too. Pacific air. We'll have to watch and see what happens with that Pacific air, because when we have that in December, January, that means above average temperatures, and that will fight our snow chances too.
Yeah. Yeah, and it all comes down to what takes over for dominance when you talk about Pacific air and zonal flow. You're pushing the air across the continent. Mm-hmm. So when you bring in the Pacific air, that's an automatic warming signal for us. But the moment you start to block in the upper atmospheric patterns, then you start to open the door to that Canadian and Arctic push. Yeah. And then if it gets really crazy, it's a Siberian push that comes across. It's cross-polar.
Not to say that we probably won't have cold outbreaks, because we usually do every year.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just a matter of, how many do we see and how cold does it get?
Yep, it is. That's what people remember. And, of course, how early does the winter start, too? That's a big one. If you get an active winter at the end, February, March, well, that's not nearly as hard to take. People's mentality changes. But if you start catching some big storms in November, which we haven't talked about the all or nothing yet. For
I know. Maybe
I keep
this
bringing
weekend.
It up. I know.
This weekend, I just have to do it.
Well,
sit down and do all these numbers.
And based on the modeling, we'll get to that in a minute, but we're not looking at any imminent storms for sure. So
nothing scary?
Not yet, no.
Halloween's around the corner. We can't forget about that forecast too.
There's too much candy around my house, I think.
Already?
Soon will be. Well, there was a package of Twix candy bars, I think, and they left.
Is that your weakness? Is it the Twix?
I don't think so. I'm not really a big fan of those. I mean, they're okay, but probably a Snickers bar. Then Snickers I would be in trouble.
Good. Yeah, I'm more of the fruity type. Gummy bears.
The gummy bears. Huh?
Yep, like that. Skittles. Early on when I worked here, I used to get Starburst out of the vending machine a lot.
I've
gone away from that.
I remember, yeah. Do we still even have candy bars? I don't think we do we? I never go back there. Well, I do. I go back there for breakfast.
When you forget. When you forget, like me.
I'll forget. Oh, yeah. Well, where's my breakfast? Oh, I forgot.
I don't know. I think it's granola bars and beef sticks and cheese and maybe a sandwich here and there.
Yeah, that's good for you, right?
Yeah. We should take a tour of that place sometime soon. We'll go through this Halloween forecast as showers are in their Now, we're starting this at 5 o'clock, and we'll go through 3 different models. This is the European model. And we are looking at maybe a couple of scattered showers here and there. They'll try to move to the south as we go into the evening hours, but a lot of them showing up in eastern and northeastern South Dakota. It's during the overnight we'll start to feed in some colder air, Brian. Can that switch over to a different mode of precipitation maybe by Saturday morning?
Well, it sure looks more like that could happen based on the upper air pattern, Scott, and the fact that the temperature, it's falling into the mid-30s. So, yes, I'm glad you brought that up. I think that's worth another look tomorrow or even later today.
Oh, yeah, right.
For sure.
Here's another one. Here's the Euro AI. I should just change that AI to BK. This is the Euro AI. Now, it shows that precipitation shield maybe a little more widespread, can be a little overdone, but it's the same thinking. A lot of this eastern, northeastern South Dakota during the afternoon, that will slide to the south as we get into the evening hours, and it is trying to dry it out too during the overnight. But still, whatever's lingering in moisture, we may see a couple of flakes.
Absolutely.
Flurry's not out of the question.
And there's definitely, with the cloud cover during the day and the wind out of the northwest, it makes it feel kind of blustering cold too.
Yeah, so we'll watch to see what happens. This is a look at the American model, the GFS, and a couple of spotty showers at 5 o'clock. So all three of them showing those showers, eastern, northeastern South Dakota, fall in the form of light rain, and then they are expected to move to the south. A lot of them do weaken, and drier, colder air starts to filter in. But again, can we rule out a snowflake? No, not really. Don't be surprised. Maybe a couple of flakes of snow do mix in late Friday, mainly I would say Saturday morning if there's enough moisture around.
Yeah. And it's just a novelty anyway, so nobody should be worried about this. You're looking at the calendar now too, like, okay, November 1st is Saturday, and we need to be, getting used to the idea that there should be a chance of snow coming up in a forecast at some point.
Oh, yeah. Now, speaking of November, we'll talk more about what you can expect for the month of November coming up as we continue on this latest edition of Weather or Not. Welcome back to Weather or Not. It's time to take a look at our November outlook, Brian. And, here we are, the last couple of days of October. Almost said December. Let me turn the music down. Almost said December. Getting ahead of myself.
You're just skipping right ahead.
It's that prediction piece that came out. Just thinking of the cold air and the snow.
It will soon be December, no question about it.
And the Christmas lights, too. Peyton asked, hey, can we put Christmas lights up this weekend? I said, Peyton, I want one weekend where I'm not on on an extension ladder.
So in my house, Alec is the one that already asked me about that probably 2 weeks ago about Christmas lights. And I thought, I don't think I'm ready for that yet. But I said, that's a good thought to have because if we do it early, then we're not going to be,
we'll take a closer look at the forecast here as we get into the weekend, and if I see some colder air coming, like, okay, Peyton, let's get out there and do this.
Yep, then you'll be motivated. But yeah, we're gonna get into some mild air though, at least for the first few days of November.
Maybe I should do it then.
Could be.
You almost have me sold on it. Now I'm really thinking about it. Here's the 500 millibar pattern. We've shown this from time to time, kind of dissecting the atmosphere in half here. Shows you high pressure, low pressure, troughs, ridges in the atmosphere, and this is going out 2 weeks. A couple of interesting features with this, too, and I'll let this play through. It goes through, I think, 5 times. We're watching a couple of things. The main thing is what's going on to our south and southwest, as it looks like high pressure tries to take control over Texas and maybe New Mexico, and that could help us warm. In fact, that will help us warm at the beginning of the month, but then we'll have to see what happens if the storm systems do run through Canada as we go into maybe that second week of the month. Now, I do stop this as we do get into the middle of the first week of November. This is rather interesting. Let me get into this graphic, and I'll just waffle this back and forth, Brian. And just, I don't know if you've picked up on this before, too. I know, that Hurricane Melissa going through Jamaica right now, that's a big story. But watch what happens with this low. I need to go ahead and resituate my map here. I'm going to do this, Okay. Now, this will show both of that high-pressure system to the west there and low pressure coming off of the central United States. Look at this. That thing comes through, gets into the Gulf, looks like it strengthens, and then it goes through northern Florida. Isn't that an interesting feature?
Yeah. And
if I were to look at this and not know anything from putting that in reverse, you would look at that and say, that's one heck of a tropical system.
Yeah, but it is looking like the origins are farther north, but yet
It's hard to get some strength going until it reaches the Gulf and get some warmer waters over it. So
yeah, the difference between warm core lows and cold core lows, that's kind of the I guess the most basic definition when it comes to tropical weather. But certainly a powerful storm, and they've been very blessed this year. Haven't had any hurricanes on the at least of any significance of major consequences along the Gulf region. But yeah, you mentioned before with that Hurricane Melissa out there and with Jamaica and all of that news going on. That's been a major, major story.
So they'll continue to follow that, and you can follow that with the national news as well. And we'll follow it here from time to time on whether or not. But I do want to touch on this. This is, as I mentioned before, the middle of that first week of November. High pressure here should help us warm, and we are looking at well above average temperatures throughout much of that first week of the month. I think once we get beyond maybe Saturday will be a little cool. Then those temperatures will start to moderate. And Brian, you still thinking of maybe a 70-degree day?
Well, Novembers, we've had a lot of Novembers where it will warm like that. So you get some big ridging over the top. I think the models will probably catch up to that. It's just a matter of getting the right timing. But, oh, yeah, I mean, we're dry enough. I mean, there's no question in my mind that our soil is not going to be super wet after today's rain. We're getting some out there today, obviously. But
yeah, we'll get more there, Iowa and Minnesota, as compared to southeastern South Dakota. And then we'll have to watch maybe a couple of these low-pressure systems, extending troughs with it, too. That can help bring in some cooler air. We'll get into what looks to be more of a westerly flow here. If we get into this northwest flow, we'll have to see if we get any warm air overriding that from the Pacific that we talked about earlier to keep these temperatures above average. So as we do go through the month of November, I think those two features will have to be watched. What's going on with high pressure to our south, say Texas, New Mexico, that area? And then if we do get into more of a northwest flow, is that flow coming in off the Pacific? And if it is, I think we'll stay mostly dry with these above average temperatures.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I think to start the month, and I know the Climate Prediction Center, CPC, has their 8 to 14-day outlook. Large part of the central and western United States way above normal. So, you look at normal high, though, now. I mean, if you're even in the 50s, you're above average.
You're above average. We were not that long ago, we were waking up to temperatures in the low to mid-50s. Wasn't that yesterday morning?
I'm still used to thinking the forecast is going to go back up in the 70s. 60s and stay there.
Yeah, 60s, 70s.
It was so warm for so long. But, yeah, I guess that reality does set in now that, just to reach 70 is a much bigger deal.
You know what may happen? We may get weather whiplash sooner or later.
Well, it happens. There's
swing
a
the other way.
Yes, and a lot of times, too, if we do expect a cold snap sometime, it's natural to expect a big burst of warmth ahead of that. So we got to kind of watch that now as we get into November.
Here's the next 2 weeks on our snowfall forecast. May get some snow to fall into the hills of western South Dakota, but this continues to fill in Canada. That's looking a little different than what we've seen over the past couple of days.
It is,
So we'll continue to watch and see if we get some colder air to arrive. Once they start to get a snowpack up there, then, of course, that refrigerates the air, and we'll see what happens with that as it moves across the northern plains.
That is extremely true. Northern hemispheric snow, early October, November, that dictates cold polar outbreaks later on in the winter. So good observation.
We'll watch it. And here's a snow trend that we've been following since the middle of September, just looking at now the 10th, 20th, and 30th. We'll just call it the odds of having measurable snow by these dates. Okay. So we're a little less than 50% right now through the 10th of November, but notice how those numbers do go up. Around 75% chance by the 20th, 93, we're in the 90s by the 30th. And then once we get that first measurable snow, I'm going to stop with this snow trend thing.
I wanted to point out one thing, too, about this.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's really interesting that the average that you have for Sioux Falls through the 10th of November is almost a 50-50, but the daily, the newest data now has pulled back because what we just talked about, all this mild air that's beginning to emerge is now even pulling down the whole ensemble. The whole thing that's quite a difference from 46 to 29. So
in Rapid City, that's gone.
That's
down.
gone
71, down. Sure, but the average 90, it's rounding up to 90.
Yeah.
So that's down. Numbers down for the 20th, just a little, but still says 100 by the 30th.
It's a guarantee.
I don't know. Are there guarantees?
Statistically speaking.
Are there guarantees in weather?
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I've always had a thing about that, Scott, about not putting 100%, even though you could put 100%. I mean, today, for example, it's raining
Minnesota,
outside.
Iowa, it's raining in Sioux Falls.
But, an extended forecast, no. I'm not in charge of that, so.
I'm not in charge of, when we're in drought of having these 20% pops on days 6 or 7 either.
True, yeah.
We have a lot of people false hope when we're in the middle of a drought.
Right. There are reasons sometimes we'll on purpose yank that out. But, we go into a forecast in November for Rapid City. You would think by the 30th of November it would snow. Pretty sure it will.
Well, it's in there in the upper 90s as a percent chance to see that snow. That's our time for this latest edition of Whether or Not. Thank you for joining us, and of course, have a great day.